Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Titans training camp, Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, as players are on the field, getting ready for the first practice of the season. Looking forward to that. Chase McCabe here. Willy Donick joining us for today's show as he's got some stuff going on, and so he's going to do this show with me and talk a little Titans, and then Junie Riddle, Derek Mason will take over at 11 o'clock. You just heard from General Manager Rand Carthon as he kind of did his introductory press conference to start training camp. But Willie, got some players already out on the field. They don't officially start till 9:30, but Mike Vrabel's been out here running laps, and now some players have made their way to the field. How are you?
I am doing well. It's good to talk to you. Got a chance to hear a lot of that Rand Carthon press conference, and so it's great to have it going. We had the press conferences yesterday, so I think the table's set.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I had the opportunity to be in an event the other day that Rand Carthon was speaking at. And, we're still getting to know him. You've gotten a chance to have him on the show. He may actually join at some point. But I like him. He seems like a really good guy, laid back. I think it's, he's talked about that it's kind of helpful that, he's been in this league, played in this league. Obviously, his dad coached in this league for a long time, so he kind of speaks the language and knows what the players are going through. But you can tell that there's a little bit of that excitement, kind of like a kid on his first day of school for him going into his first training camp.
He strikes me as a very secure, confident person. I like how he's handled himself for a guy in his first year as a general manager. Every setting that I've heard him in, he seems very cool, calm, and collected. He doesn't seem like he's a rookie. He doesn't seem like he hasn't been doing this, especially in terms of media relations. I think he puts people at ease, even though he's had a lot of important things, big decisions that he's had to make here in this first year.
So we know that he's going to tweak the roster. He and Mike, and he made it a point to say that in the press conference, that it's a partnership with Mike Vrabel. So any player that they sign or they cut, it's a collaboration between he and Mike Vrabel. They did make a move this morning, bringing back A.J. Moore, a defensive back who was, I think it was last year, was here and played one game for the team. They waived defensive tackle Curtis Brooks. So the secondary is something that we've talked about, Willie, that that's if you have a concern on defense, it's probably the secondary and really the depth. And they bring back A.J. Moore, who they seemed to like last year, and he's going to join in camp. They still haven't made any signings when it comes to the offensive line, which surprises me a little bit.
Yeah, and I think in time that will be addressed. They have time. It's a question for me of, what's the bird in hand? The people in camp right now they have available, the guys they just worked out, as opposed to the probably 24 offensive linemen that are going to get cut in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're trying to take a look at and see what's the best option, because in theory you're only looking for depth past the 6th game, but you do need somebody to be the hero for 6 games. And Moore, the guy that they signed this morning, he's one of the gazillion guys that got injured last year, and I guess his season pretty much ended. And so there's always this group, with everybody pushing the salary cap limits, there's always a group of several hundred players that are good enough to play in the league that are always floating around on somebody's roster, on somebody's practice squad, cut from the practice squad, added to somebody else's roster, or sitting around working out, ready to get the phone call. There's always a pool of players, and it's almost like an art form, being able to find the right guy for your system. So that's I know a lot of what goes on during training camp, because everybody's got their 90 now, but that number is going to go down in just a few weeks.
Yeah, and remember they changed the rule this year that it used to be a stair-step process. Now it's just 90 to 53 is what they got to get to, which I don't know if I'm obviously not the one making the moves. I mean, there's questions all the time that pop in my head that, man, I wish I could ask Floyd. But if it would be easier or not, I feel like, I would rather have my full complement throughout training camp and get as much evaluation as possible and then make that cut down to 53.
Well, yeah, I'd be curious to ask, Rand, if we can get him on today, how does he feel about that? How does that change what, how you make your decisions? It makes the games a lot easier in terms of, having a lot of bodies and choosing who you want to give the reps to. It probably has its upside and its downside. The upside would be you get a longer look at some guys, and for the downside, you can't really clear out the locker room and start really working with the guys that are going to play ultimately. So I'd love to hear what GMs think about that, but somebody must have thought this was a good idea because they voted it in.
Well, Robbie Bourne just gave me the signal. I think we're going to have Rand Carthon coming up in the next segment, so we can ask him. We can ask him his thoughts of all of that. One thing too that came up yesterday. You guys played the press conference with Mike Vrabel, and it came up several times with Coach, and it came up with DeAndre Hopkins, and that is the whole practice thing. That D-Hop doesn't like to practice. This was Mike Vrabel when asked about D-Hop and his practice schedule.
Like to practice every day during the course of things in the long run?
One more time, Paul.
Is he a guy that's likely to not be a every
Yeah, I'm sure that there will be days where that he's not out there. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to say he's going to be at every practice. There's other guys that'll be in that same vein. He may do team periods, and, there were times where, Ben Jones or Jeff Simmons, came out and did team periods, or came out and did, individual work and didn't do the team periods. Just every day is something different. There's a plan that we go through each and every day with myself, with Frank, with Todd, communication with the players. So we're going to do it just like we've done it before.
That was Mike Vrabel yesterday on the practice schedule for DeAndre Hopkins. And I think I've decided, and even with D-Hop's answer, that you could tell he wanted to say something, but he held back, that had to do with Houston and probably Bill O'Brien, that this has just been blown out of proportion, and maybe it's just something we don't even need to worry about anymore.
I'll believe that when I see it. I think we have to watch it play out before we decide one way or the other. DeAndre Hopkins said it himself. He goes, he thinks it's overblown. He said, I don't think you can have the kind of numbers I've had without practicing, but it does sound like we have to get used to it. But I think everybody here is so I guess we have in our mind what this looks like with Julio Jones, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to play out the same way. Let's hope that this has a much different feel to it. And I think the key difference is, and Derek and I talked about this a lot yesterday, is there is a relationship from the start. This goes way back. Mike Vrabel and DeAndre Hopkins and Tim Kelly have known each other for a long, long time. And so that ought to help.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm looking. I don't see DeAndre. I know it came up that he had a family thing that he had told them about.
They
from
said
the beginning,
yesterday that to prepare. He's not going to be out there.
Yeah. So, and that's fine. But they have everybody else out here. The quarterbacks are warming up right now. Mike Vrabel. You laugh at this, Willie. I wish D-Mase had been here because we're getting set up and everything, and I look and I see this guy jogging just end zone to end zone, and it was Mike Vrabel. I'm like, wonder if D-Mase would get out there with him and maybe race the head coach a little bit.
Hey man, you got to be loose. You got to be loose, ready. You know how Vrabel, he likes to work with those guys. He likes to get the hand fighting going and go through the drill. So I'm sure he's got to acclimate to the heat like everybody else.
So where are you? You're with Mahoney Donick. I know he's playing baseball. So where are the Donicks currently?
We are in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Okay. So last night we went over to the campus and looked around some. We actually walked in. I hope the surveillance cameras didn't catch us. We walked into Tiger Stadium and looked around. It's an unbelievable structure that I hadn't been to in a long, long time. When I was the sideline reporter for Vanderbilt, I got a chance to do a game down here. And it is quite the spectacle for sure. So just going through there, we looked at Pete Maravich Assembly Center and went over and looked at Alex Box, the new baseball stadium, which is different from when I was the old Alex Box, which was a great place to play. It looks like a AAA palace where the baseball team that just won the national championship plays. It is beautiful. I had never seen it before. It is big time. And so the tournament that Mahoney's playing in down here, the big games are going to be played at that field. So that's a big thrill. It's called the Marucci World Series. So there's a bunch of teams down here on the travel circuit.
Yeah, well, cool. Well, has Mahoney pitched yet, or when is he playing?
Not yet. It might be today. There's a chance it could be tomorrow, but I think it's probably going to be today.
Well, awesome. Well, good luck to him. Enjoy Baton Rouge. I've been to New Orleans, but I've never been to Baton Rouge, so I need to mark that off because I'd really love to go to a game at LSU.
Well, definitely plan on if you're driving, having enough gas to get from New Orleans to Baton Rouge because there's not much in between. It's about an hour drive, and we found that out when we were coming in the other night, coming in late at night. We were looking for gas between point A and point B, and there wasn't much there.
Well, D-Mase will be happy to know the wide receivers are right in front of our tent. So whenever he gets here, he can start his evaluation of all the wideouts as we're literally right in front of us. We might catch one. Who knows? But we're live today, Titans training camp. Chase McCabe here. Willy Donick is in Baton Rouge, as you heard. And I want to thank our Titans training camp sponsors as we're here today and Friday. Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase will be here as well. Presented by the Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, and Cottle Vet Clinic. So appreciate them for being on board. I believe we are going to be joined by Titans General Manager Rand Carthon here in the next few minutes. Things a little fluid today, first day of practice as it usually is, but hopefully we have a chance to chat with him. And just saw Willy, Big 22, just walked onto the field, or jogged, I should say. So. It's funny. He's been here for a long time now, but you still just, when you see his size, how big he is, you still kind of get blown away by that. Yeah,
well, it's good to know that he's out there. That's with all the drama going on with running backs these days. It's just we discussed this yesterday on our show, Jace. The fact that they have avoided all of the pitfalls of being a running back and a top running back. It says a lot about Derrick Henry and also the respect that the Titans have for Derrick Henry. They've gone against the grain. And, for better or worse, there are probably some analytics people saying they're paying Derrick Henry too much for what he is. But I think they're happy to pay him every dime because of what he's all about. But the other thing is they've avoided the headache and the holdouts and the franchise tag and all of this stuff. They've gotten through it relatively simple, and he's been paid what he's deserved, and he's ready to roll this year.
We're, again, live today, Titans training camp at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Chase McCabe, Willy Donick. We hope to talk to Rand Carthon here in just a little bit. But coming up next, we'll talk some wide receivers because I got a few things that come to mind as we watch them warm up. Live today at training camp, Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Whether it's college football,
players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia,
or the NFL,
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The ultimate family-friendly concert experience is back and all new for 2023. The Kids Bop Never Stop live tour is coming your way, so get ready to sing and dance. Friday, July 28th, First Bank Amphitheater. On sale now at livenation.com. So come have the best time ever at the Kids Bop Never Stop live tour. See you there. Part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series presented by Live Nation.
Baseball fans, your home for the best baseball action is 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan with the ESPN Game of the Week and the Nashville Sounds. It's all brought to you by Superbook Sports, the #1 sports book in Vegas. Download the Superbook app today.
There are ordinary hotels, and there's the Four Seasons. There are ordinary cars, and there's the Rolls-Royce. There are ordinary handbags, and there's Gucci. There are ordinary engagement rings, and there's Genesis. A Genesis diamond ring is unlike any other. Artistic, innovative design, handcrafted precision, exceptional detail and quality. This is why people who work at other jewelers come to Genesis for their rings. A Genesis ring is considered the gold standard in bridal, with no compromises, no cut corners, nothing short of perfection. We have the look, the style every woman dreams about. At Genesis, you'll find dozens of exclusive world-class bridal designers who are revered for their attention to detail, exceptional vision, and superior craftsmanship. A Genesis ring rises to the occasion, reflecting her style, her unique personality, her confidence, her individuality. In a world filled with ordinary, for this moment, choose extraordinary. Choose Genesis. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Nashville is growing, but we remember our roots here.
The fairgrounds, my family and I have so many memories there. It is full of history, it is full of culture, and it is full of Nashville.
There are some folks who want to tear down our historic fairground speedway.
When you do that, you lose part of your story.
Don't tear it down, make it better.
I'm not necessarily a racing fan, but it's a part of the fabric of the neighborhood.
When you lose something, guess what? It doesn't come back.
Don't take away my history.
Let's make sure we don't lose another piece of what makes our city so special.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Joyland in East Nashville. Joyland is a fun new concept by celebrity chef Sean Brock, inspired by his love for cheeseburgers, shakes, buttermilk biscuits, fries, and fried chicken. Get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy the best burger in town. Find some joy today and eat Joyland for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week. That's thegamenashville.com/deals.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Find special savings on top brands like DeWalt. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt impact driver or drill for just $99 each. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members will earn 3 times the bonus points when shopping the Pro Zone. Shop in-store and online today. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. DeWalt offer valid 7/17 through 8/2. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts if any. Valid through 7/28. Subject to change.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at Norfolk. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win. Pre-game at 5:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, did you tune in late? It's okay. It happens. You can subscribe to the Chase McCabe podcast wherever you get your podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, doesn't matter. Rate, subscribe, and review today.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Live today, Titans training camp, Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Willie Donick is in Baton Rouge. And we are pleased to be joined by the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, Rand Carthon, who has been nice enough to walk over to our table. We're waiting on our wide receiver while watching wide receivers. But Rand, what does this feel like? First training camp as a GM.
It's funny you ask. A really good friend of mine hit me up yesterday and said I should do one of those kid chalkboards like first day of school and do one for first training camp as GM. Like we were talking about off air, I'm just trying to pace myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too excited too soon and you crash at one point. But I'm very excited to see all 91 guys out here and just to get back to football. Just as a pure football fan, nothing more, nothing less. I'm just glad to get back to football.
You got 90 on the roster, but you're in the tweaking stage. That you're going to see guys that either haven't signed with the team, like you got D-Hop late. And then maybe get cut from a team. You sign A.J. Moore this morning, who was with this team last year, went through training camp, played one game, got hurt. What'd you see from him that you felt like he was going to help you right now?
And you mean A.J.?
A.J., yeah.
Oh, yeah. A.J.'s, he's a proven special teams player in this league and gives us quality depth at safety. And so it's just another way to improve our unit, we're always looking to grow our roster and make a more competitive roster. So that was one of the things we've charged the scouts with. Let's keep churning, this roster. Let's keep flipping and getting guys in, getting guys out, just to allow us to not only put the best 90, together, but also the best 53 when it's time to make those decisions.
DeAndre Hopkins comes in here. I know that you're excited to get that deal done and get him signed. But how special was it to have him here yesterday and be able to get him in front of everybody?
I mean, it's awesome. We were just upstairs during the press conference, and they asked what was that process like, and it was just a month-long date. It's a month-long courtship, and we were able to get the deal done. So it wasn't just us and personnel. Like I've said, I want to make sure I keep reiterating, we had help from people inside the building, and then just the city of Nashville. He came during CMA Fest and had a really great time. He wanted to see his guy Tim McGraw, perform, and so we were able to make that happen. And then just the city of Nashville just showing up and just showing what the city has to offer him outside of football.
We're talking to Ray Carthon, Titans general manager, and Rand, along those lines, I think people would be curious to know the inside of this. In college, we have this image of recruiting trips. You show them around, you take them to a nice dinner, you meet the guys, you go out at the frats or whatever it is. What is the difference between the college recruiting process and the pro recruiting process, where you get a guy that's a lot older, professional, he knows what's going on here, but still you want to have that personal touch?
Yeah, and in today's game, it's very rare that you get the opportunity to do what you just described as a recruiting trip. A lot of times, and you look at that 3-day negotiation window, it's about guys you typically go to the highest bidder. And so it's very rare that you get the opportunity to do a recruiting trip. And so for us, we feel like we're in a unique spot because we're in one of the, most unique cities, in the NFL in Nashville. And you can look around the city in the offseason and you can see about, a quarter of the NFL here already. And so it was good for us to be able to get players. If we can get players here and show what the city of Nashville has to offer, it gives us a legit chance to sign them. Now,
I have a feeling, being obviously a GM now, but a former player in this league, you're familiar with the guy that just sat down next to me, Derek Mason, former Titans wide receiver. So, D-Mase, I know you wanted to talk to Rand. We'll bring you in officially.
Exactly. No, I just want to know how has it been for you? I didn't hear all the interview. Trying to park out there, as a madhouse. But they found a space for me, so thank you. I appreciate it.
He needs his own space.
The guy, Marcus, and the young lady, they were terrific. So, but how has it been for you? You've been here, 5 months now, 6 months somewhere?
Yeah, 6-7 months. Who's counting? It's been really good, man. Like, I'll forever say I'm in a unique spot in that it's not like it's a new GM, new head coach situation where you got to come in, you got to establish a way of way you want things done. Coming here and Mike's established, and Mike being one of the best coaches in this league, it makes it easier for me and my staff, particularly myself, Chad, and A-Rob, who are new, to just kind of come in, learn the culture of what it means to be a Titan, and then just add our little sugar, on the top of that, and to push this thing forward.
Now, did you already have in mind guys you wanted to bring with you if indeed you got an opportunity to be a GM? And lo and behold, you're here in Nashville, but you just mentioned the 3 guys. Are those 3 guys that you had in mind?
Yeah, and again, I never worked with Chad before. He was just someone that, met out on the road and just always, appreciated his perspective and just his background and everything he's done. And then, A-Rob and I, we literally started our careers together in Atlanta. I'll never forget, Atlanta Falcons have what we call apartments or dorms in the back of their facility that they use for training camp.
Which means y'all can't go home.
Pretty much. And so I get in late, the night before my first day on the job, and they just like, hey, here's your key. Here's the room number, the building number. And so I go in. So I wake up the next morning, and I'm walking out, and there's this little short dude coming down the hallway, and I'm like, who the hell is this? And it was A-Rob.
Okay.
And so we literally walked over together, and then from there was just conversation. We're both from Florida. We went to rival colleges. I went to Florida. He went to Florida State. His, wife went to Florida State. My wife went to Florida.
Oh, man.
We had daughters that were the same age.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, he went to high school with guys I played with at Florida, so we just had so much, in common. And just throughout the years, he was in Atlanta the whole time, and I went on to work for 2 other organizations, prior to coming here. But he was just a person that became a colleague first and then a friend later, and then we always maintain, conversations, and just throughout the years, just talking philosophy. He interviewed for the Atlanta, GM job last year or 2 years ago, and just us talking about his process, and then I was able to interview for a couple jobs the following year. But just adding guys that come from unique backgrounds that are different from mine, I think helps balance out this whole thing.
We're talking with Tennessee Titans GM Rand Carthon. Now, what has been, I wouldn't say difficult, challenging. I'm trying to look for the right word because it all is difficult when you step into this role as a GM. But what has been the part that you sort of have had that challenge with or whatnot?
Time, and realizing that time isn't mine anymore. So from the moment I step in, to the building and my doors are open, it's things, whether it's handling something in scouting, working with Mike through something, or, having to go upstairs. Like Monday I had to do something I've never done before, which is speak at the Rotary Club. I've never had to do that
I was
before.
there. You did a great job.
Thank you. So,
you got many more of those to come.
But it's just all those things. And so, thank God I'm hardwired to be an early morning person, so I get in here early to have what I call my me time. And I'm in my office generally, it can range anywhere from 5:30 to 6:30. I'm here. I'm cranking through tape, until about 7:45 before we have an 8 o'clock squad meeting, and then that's when my doors open, and then I'll stay later when everybody's gone and close my doors again and, blast my music and watch my tape, and then it's to the house.
We talked earlier, Rand Carthon is with us, about tweaking the roster. And, one position that I think you're evaluating is kicker, as you got a couple guys here in camp. But kind of where are you with that process, and do you feel confident that the 2 guys that are here, one of them is going to be kicking for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they're here. That's why they're under contract. We got confidence in them that they can get it done. But it's just like anything else, man. You have a roster full of guys, but then you also got to have a ready list for if something comes up and you need to fill one of those spots. So, we want to give these young guys an opportunity to kick and prove themselves, and we'll see how they do.
Willie, I know you got one more.
Yeah, Rand, I have admired. You just mentioned first year, and Derek's asking you a couple, questions about just getting into the flow as being the main guy and being out in the forefront and speaking publicly. I think you look really comfortable and sound really comfortable in these press conferences. I also think it's been interesting. You brought some of your colleagues with you today. I know Chad Brinker took some questions, and I've got one along those lines. With DeAndre Hopkins, he talked about it a lot yesterday, the comfort level, the relationship he already has with Tim Kelly and, of course, Mike Vrabel. They got a great year together in 2019, a huge year for DeAndre Hopkins. When you looked at the process and you work with Chad, you talk to Mike Vrabel and Tim Kelly about, here he is in this stage of his career. He's a little bit older than he was back then, but when you try to crunch all the numbers and look at what he's done, how do you try to come up with, here's the value of this player now as opposed to 3, 4, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, and D-Mase has gone through it. When you get to a certain part of your career, as a receiver, people tend to count you out or, don't want to, quote, unquote, pay you as much. But, when we ran the numbers, we felt comfortable with where D-Hop is and what we can get out of him. But I think more than anything, and Derek was wired a certain way, you got to get guys that are wired the right way, who want something to prove. And, when we came to terms with D-Hop, he and I were on the phone, and I was just like, hey, man, like, your agent says we're good, but I want to hear from your mouth that we're good, and he was like, yeah, man, we're good. He was like, you're getting a dog. And it was funny he said that because I had just literally heard an interview that Jerry West did where they were referring to Jerry West as a dog. And Jerry West said, no, I'm a wolf. Wolves eat dogs, And so when Hop said I'm a dog, I was like, nah, I don't need a dog. I need a wolf. I need a wolf. And so that's what I've been calling him ever since we got him here, was a young wolf. But, again, that's a testament to how he's wired. He knows what people are saying. whether he shows it outwardly or not, he knows what people are saying. And so he's out to prove to people not only that he can still play, but that he made the right decision in coming here.
Well, and I'll tell you this, I know we're not supposed to report on a lot of things, but I'm watching him right now, and just the communication, you can tell he's trying to be a sponge early on first day of camp. And I know as the general manager, you have to love that, because that's a guy that, as Vrabes has said, I want guys that want to be here. It seems like that's what he wants.
Yeah, 100%. And I think from the moment we met with him, he wanted to be here.
Yeah.
It was just us making it all make sense. And so I think that, again, that made it easy. And, again, it was his familiarity with Vrabes, with Timmy. He and I hitting it off. We had some mutual friends who, we were able to call and joke with, while we were doing the process. Ryan Tannehill was a part of it. He and his wife Lauren came to dinner with us that night when we, hosted Hop. And, again, I'll forever say it's the city. It's the city of Nashville.
It's not too bad.
I mean, you look, I was, and I know you guys are probably going to laugh at me, but I don't care. I was at the Beyonce concert,
nice.
The other night. And I won't say who, but I seen several NFL players that I know live here now that, that aren't Titans. Mm-hmm. But it shows you what this city is and why people want to be here. And I'm fortunate to be here and to be able to, have a skill set where I can connect with people and then share this city with them and make them want to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here. Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for stopping by and doing this. I know you want to go watch your first practice here, but it'll be a fun journey, and I know we'll talk to you down the road.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it.
Thanks. Rand Carthon, Titans general manager with us. More coming. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Hey, it's Jared for PhD Weight Loss. I've been on this program now for almost 3 months, and I have blown past the 20-pound mark. I absolutely love the way I feel, and I love the way I look. I was at a wedding over the weekend, and I just kept getting compliments about, man, you look great. And honestly, a lot of it is because of how hard I've been focused with my coaching at PhD Weight Loss. That's right. Coach Rachel's done a fantastic job of making this program easy for me to understand and allowing me to feel a sense of control when it comes to my weight loss. And you can do it yourself. It's simple. Go to myphdweightloss.com to check it out and learn about the program. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of that program, PhD will guarantee that they will coach you for free until you do. That's right. That's PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition, the official partner of the Clemson Tigers organization and fans, and they are online at myphdweightloss.com.
3 days of racing, 3 days of music, one huge weekend event. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is not just a race or a festival, it's an experience. Multiple music stations with Flo Rida, Vince Neil, Chris Jansen, Gavin DeGraw, and more. Fast cars going over 200 miles an hour. And a family fun zone with inflatables, Ferris wheels, kids games, and kid-friendly food trucks. Tickets and premium hospitality are on sale now. Go to MusicCityGP.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Find special savings on top brands like DeWalt. Right now, save $60 when you buy a DeWalt impact driver or drill for just $99 each. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members will earn 3 times the bonus points when shopping the Pro Zone. Shop in-store and online today. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. DeWalt offer valid 7/17 through 8/2. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 7/28. Subject to change.
Bundling and saving with Geico is an easy choice, so you're free to ponder life's big questions, like
What's the best animal in the world if not humans? I'd strongly consider ducks to be somewhere up there on the list. Think about it. Ducks can swim, ducks can fly, and ducks can walk on land. They have access to all terrains. They are the ultimate animal. And they wiggle their butts when they walk, which is funny. Yeah, ducks are awesome. End of story. Bundling and saving with Geico. It's an easy choice.
Hey guys, this is Mike at Newton Ford in Shelbyville. Did you hear the news that we were awarded as a 2023 Dealer of the Year out of all 4 dealerships in Tennessee by Dealer Rater, where real people write real reviews about their car dealership experiences? Yep. That means we got the most 5-star reviews from customers like you over the past year out of all the 4 dealerships you could choose in Tennessee. We're proud of our reputation, but you've got to check it out for yourself. So if you want a smooth purchase of a brand new Ford or pre-owned new to you vehicle, we're here to help make that happen. The best part is, you can start this entire process online with Newton FastPass. That's right, no phone calls or waiting on the lot. Start shopping right now by visiting newtonford.com/Newton-FastPass. That's newtonford.com/Newton-FastPass. Come see us in Shelbyville, just a short drive from Murfreesboro, to see how we can smooth out the car shopping experience for you.
Tennessee's tax-free holiday is here. Head to Electronic Express this weekend for great deals on back-to-school essentials, like an HP Ryzen 3 laptop, only $399, or an LG touchscreen laptop, just $749. Electronic Express has laptops, tablets, printers, and more, all tax-free, Friday through Sunday. Don't miss an Apple iMac computer for only $549, or a Samsung tablet, just $119. Shop in-store or online with up to 60-month special financing. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
It's back to school time! Check out the Stars Nashville Thrives tent at the Back to School event in Madison on Saturday, July 29th from 3 to 6 at the El Patron Event Center at 709A Rivergate Parkway in Goodlettsville. And in Nashville on Sunday, July 30th from 12 to 3 at Coleman Park, 384 Thompson Lane. There will be school supplies on a first-come basis. Bring your unused medications and safely dispose of them in the drug take-back box. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died. And
I need a jump, again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at Norfolk. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win. Pre-game at 5:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Chase McCabe is on.
I am not that guy you think I was.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Chase McCabe Show, live today, Titans training camp. Nick Frazier back at the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. I'm here. Willie Donick is in Baton Rouge hanging out with us today. And appreciate Rand Carthon, Titans GM, for joining us. And he's standing there talking to his newest receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, right now. So D-Hop is out here today. And D-Mase is sitting here watching the receivers. I mean, we're lucky the receivers are right here in front of us, Willie. And a big group as Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel are going to, there's the obvious ones that we know are making the team, but, probably 4, 5, and 6, there's a battle right now between several guys.
As there is every year, when you get down to it. And now, one of the things that, look, if there's ever a topic that we spent probably too much time talking about, it was should they sign DeAndre Hopkins, and if they do, what does it look like? And one of the number one reasons why it was worth doing was that it does seem to slot everybody in the right role. Chase, you know about the way a team constructs a bullpen, all right, or a pitching rotation, right? When you can have a staff that's not all that great, but you get that one ace, and then it slots everybody in the right place. A guy may not be the best number 3 starter, but he's a great number 4. Or a guy that maybe isn't a great closer, but he's an excellent setup man. So we don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is still an ace as a number 1 receiver, but it does look like it puts everybody else in a comfortable spot where they should be, and that's worth something for sure.
Well, and I don't even know if he has to be an ace. Like, the hope is that
I agree.
Treylon Burks becomes the ace. That's what you're looking for. You're just wanting, production or and maybe this is the wrong phrase, but with the Predators, we've always heard the phrase secondary scoring. I mean, you're kind of looking for that, and D-Hop can obviously make defenses treat you differently because he's on the field, and so and like we've talked about, help Treylon Burks take a little pressure off of him, get him to that point where he becomes the ace. But I mean, look, if we're just being honest right now, if you're ranking receivers, DeAndre Hopkins is number 1 until Treylon Burks takes it from him. That's kind of how I look at it, and I think that's how the coaches look at it.
Sure, and I agree with you that he doesn't have to be, the perfect number 1 for it to be an effective move. The key to anything is he helping the team be a better team. And if he has a solid but not spectacular season, it may not be what DeAndre Hopkins sees as a perfect scenario. But from the Titans' end, if it makes Burks better, if it makes Derrick Henry better, if it makes Ryan Tannehill better, then there's huge value in that, even if the individual numbers for Hopkins aren't great. I think that's one thing that we're all curious to know is as they carve out the roles, who ends up getting the ball, how many times, and can this offense go from, bottom 10, maybe even bottom 6, if you look at, depending on what set of numbers you're looking at, up into that middle tier. Because you can paint a scenario, hey, look, if you give me the 15th best offense, I'll take that because the defense might be good enough to keep you in every game, and we know Mike Vrabel's teams tend to be very good in the close games.
Coming up next, the Titans have a conundrum, but I don't think it's a bad one that we will discuss. We're live today, training camp at St. Thomas Sports Park, and again, our training camp coverage is presented by the Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, and Caudle Vet Clinic here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Gypsy Kings featuring Tonino Baliardo return to Nashville with a concert that will take you on a trip down memory lane. The Gypsy Kings will be performing their greatest hits November 4th at TPAC Andrew Jackson Hall. For you to dance and enjoy an unforgettable night. Tickets on sale through ToninoBaliardo.com. A Loud and Live production.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
What is that?
My mortgage rate detector. I made it out of an old altimeter alarm. With Navy Federal Credit Union's no refi rate drop option, we could get a lower rate without refinancing our mortgage. So I'm keeping a close eye on mortgage rates. They're dropping. Call Navy Federal.
Buy a home, and if rates drop, you could lower your rate and save thousands. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to approval and eligibility requirements. Learn more at NavyFederal.org.
All of us at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game want to recognize our active military, veterans, first responders, and educators with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nate Keiser. The Tennessee Titans kick off training camp out on the field today with practice at 9:30. And DeAndre Hopkins was introduced yesterday to the media and was asked about how he remains consistent as a wide receiver in the NFL.
Being on the same page with my quarterback. I can't go out and throw the ball to myself. Being patient, not having the ego, putting in the extra work. As much as people say, I don't practice. I don't think you can have those kind of numbers without practicing.
And Justin Herbert signed a 5-year, $262 million deal with the Los Angeles Chargers yesterday, the highest paid NFL player now in the league to this point. And the Nashville Sounds took down the Norfolk Tide last night 10-8 after being behind 5 runs in the first 4 innings. They'll be back in action tonight at 5:20 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase.
Stone and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Rebound on the score.
Make every play perfect.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
We're going to win the game.
A Cromwell media station.
Nashville.
The suit is in the building.
Acknowledge me.
Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hour number 2, Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, live today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park for Titans training camp. Day number 1, practice 1. Everybody is here. We've been watching the wideouts, including DeAndre Hopkins, as he's been going through drills. Robbie Bourne from Titans Media Relations just asked Derek Mason if he wanted to watching everything going on. Willy Donick is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and has been nice enough to hang out today. But Willy, a question that I have, and I think the Titans have the same question, they just don't know the answer to it yet, is this quarterback situation. We obviously know Ryan Tannehill is the starter. There's no debate there. And my guess is, I kind of made the bold prediction that I thought Malik Willis might win the backup job. And the reason that I said that is because of the new quarterback rule, that there's really no reason to rush Will Levis, that you can carry 3 quarterbacks. He can be the emergency third quarterback, or Willis could, whatever. But there's no reason to rush him into something that maybe he's when asked about the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think that we're conscious of that. Again, I thought Malik came out of the spring with glaring improvement. Will's learning, what it goes into being an NFL quarterback, and then certainly the consistency that Ryan showed in the offseason and his willingness to pick up new terminology with the offense and some of the stuff that we were doing. So, again, feel good about where we're at. Can't have too many quarterbacks. Hopefully they're all good ones and that we have tough decisions. But, it was fun just seeing the guys improve and then seeing where we go now starting tomorrow.
Right now for me, Willie, I have all three on the team. I think that they're not going to be able to sneak anybody through to the practice squad, which if they were going to try that, it would be Malik Willis. I don't feel confident in that. Now, the game tape could tell us something different. If, when he gets into the preseason games and you don't see a lot of improvement, then that obviously changes this conversation. But right now I feel like that's where they're going to go, and that is a conundrum, but maybe it's a good one to be in.
Well, I think you want it to be a conundrum. That would be good news. You don't want to have, I hope one of the guys really stinks it out because that'll make our decision easy. That you want to have tough decisions because that means you have a lot of good players. And you want to have a tough decision because other people at other position groups are doing well also. He discussed that, Rand Carthon did at his press conference this morning. He was saying, every move is an important move because, and he was using A.J. Moore as an example. He said, you usually don't bring in one guy and cut another guy at the same position. You're bringing in one guy and thinking, boy, I really don't want to have to drop anybody, but I've got to drop somebody. And, in this case, I think it was, a defensive lineman that they dropped to make room for A.J. So this is how roster building works. And I wish we had a little bit more time with Rand. I'm really appreciative that he came by because I'm really curious on how they do that, right? You've got position coaches all in your building. You've got scouts. You've got analytics. And you're trying to put a full roster together. And that's the important thing. So with three quarterbacks, it's not just is Malik Willis good enough because it's such an important position. That's a big part of it. But it's also what does it do to the rest of the roster?
I'm curious too of, do they eventually expand that rule? Like if I'm the one writing the rule, I'm saying you can carry 54 players and the 54th player is a quarterback.
I agree.
And that's what it should be. And then what they put in place now where as long as they're on the 53, they're not active, but they can be dressed and they can become active if both quarterbacks get hurt. So I just feel like just give them an extra roster spot for that third quarterback. And I feel like it'll probably evolve to that eventually. But that would solve a lot of problems. And you would see, more than just the Titans, carrying three. Everybody would carry three quarterbacks at that point.
Look, I've long said that this league needs to do a much better job than they do at developing quarterbacks, and that would be a way to do it. One of many ways, I think, but is make sure there are three on every roster. Force every team to have three.
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, teams would like to have three, but the way the rules are, you get into these dilemmas. What's more valuable, the third quarterback or another position that you desperately need depth at? Because you got injury situations, you've got unique circumstances. All of these things come up, but I just would love to see better ways of getting three quarterbacks in there. So it all comes down to this is going to be a big theme of camp. We all know it. I think since the draft and since they've picked up DeAndre Hopkins and they have kept all of the veterans, you didn't see some shocking move of a trade of Kevin Byard or a trade of Derrick Henry or anything like that or any heavy rumors of Ryan Tannehill. Remember, all of that was sort of up for discussion before the draft. But now the focus is a lot more on can they win the division? Can they run it back and bounce back from a terrible stretch run last year where they got decimated for injuries? You know what that does? It takes some of the spotlight off of Will Levis and Malik Willis. And so that maybe that'll be a good thing for them.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that it will be. But that's just certainly a storyline to watch as things move on of the development of the quarterbacks. Because outside of the expanding the roster to 54 with that third guy, I mean, the next step is going to be one of these spring leagues becoming a developmental league. Because I go back to, and we talked about this, how beneficial it would have been for Malik Willis to be able to play in the XFL or the USFL this spring and get those game reps, and then show up to training camp, with that much more experience.
Oh, I would. I've been preaching this for so long. You know this. I've driven you crazy with all this. The logistics of it.
Yeah, but I agree with it.
But I really think it would be great. I mean, imagine too, just the focus on the league. Now the league can sit here and say, "Look, man, we're the king daddy. We really don't care whether you're watching the USFL or not. We're going to be fine either way." But I do think, imagine what it would do. The Titans fan base would have been watching every game that Malik Willis would have been playing, in theory, right? You have a situation where he needs to get some games. He needs some action. That would be big TV ratings for somebody, right?
Sure. Well,
if the NFL could find a way to benefit from that, then it's in their best interest to look at that.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like it's not about who's watching it or TV ratings. To me, it's development, because let's just be completely honest. With, some of these quarterbacks, and Malik Willis is a perfect example, college coaches, while they may say they want to, they want to prepare them for the next level, they care about winning now. And so a lot of the offenses and a lot of the things that they do in college don't always translate to the NFL. And even though a guy may have that raw talent and athletic ability, and that's going to get him to the NFL, some of the concepts and things that he's running in college, he's got to learn, everything all over again once he gets to the league. College coaches don't care about that. So finding a kind of a middle ground for some of these guys. Now, look, Joe Burrow didn't need it. There are certain guys that they don't, they can step off of playing Saturdays and be ready for Sunday, and there's no problem. But I think you could see a lot more quarterbacks in other positions have successful pro careers if they have kind of a stepping stone that they could get to. And, maybe one day they'll get to that point.
Yeah. You see, for example, NHL teams. The Predators, if they want to put a player somewhere outside of Milwaukee, right? The NHL has an affiliate system. They have teams, when they sign them, they put them, generally speaking, at the AAA level, right? The AHL. But there's also situations where there's not enough room on that team, so they find them another team to go play for. I think that's what the NFL should do. If you've got a guy or 6 guys that need a place to play in the offseason because they need to play. They need to rep. We need to see what these guys look like on the field, and training camp and practice just isn't enough. Then you have that available to you. That's what I think the NFL should do.
Yeah, 100% agree. 615-737-1025. That's our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. A lot of you have texted in and want to weigh in on the Titans. How are you feeling on the first day of training camp? What are some questions on your mind when it comes to the Tennessee Titans? We'll discuss that coming up next here. Chase McCabe live today from Titans training camp, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Camp is underway in the Music City.
We want to try to make sure that we're developing a team.
And we have you covered.
Could Peter Skoronsky be an option at tackle?
How quickly can DeAndre Hopkins get going? We'll be broadcasting live from training camp with the latest news and storylines from practice.
Ryan Tannehill, in the last year of a contract, it's a different team, it's a different roster.
Training camp coverage is brought to you by the Simmons Bank Open, Caudill Vet Clinic, and Parman Energy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, PhD Weight Loss, myphdweightloss.com. Dr. Ashley Lucas is the brainchild behind it, and it is a weight loss program that is tailor-made for you. You have one-on-one coaching sessions. I talk to Rachel each week. She has been fantastic, as she will adjust. Your coach will adjust the program as you go to you if you choose to use it, and no additional cost, or they'll guide you through how to use 100% of your own food. It is whatever you want to do. I've been eating a lot of salads, and you know what? I like salads. and again, those one-on-one coaching sessions, those are key as you go through the program. Check this out. Right now, if you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. It is that simple. So go to myphdweightloss.com for more information and to sign up. Again, that is myphdweightloss.com.
Hear that? That's Jeff Anderson. He's that guy in your neighborhood that's always making improvements to his house, his car, his yard. On your street, it's about keeping up with the Andersons. One thing you don't know is Jeff's tools are from Harbor Freight. Tools at great prices. That circular saw right there, you wouldn't believe the deal he got. Just think, when you're keeping up with the Andersons, you're saving money. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio for their news, traffic, weather, sports, and a community connection. It's the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. It's critical that we keep AM radio in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free emergency service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at Norfolk. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win. Pre-game at 5:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
The suit is in the building. Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tim Kelly like from having worked with him, and how much you think you can pick up on where he left off in 2019?
I think we can leave off on I think we can start where we left off. Obviously Tim, he wasn't calling a lot of plays when I was there, but he was still somewhat part of the offense. And Tim knows he knows me, he knows where I play. I know Tim very well. I remember when he was, just a GM running errands, and he's came a long way, put a lot of work in, and he's very passionate about what he do, and so am I.
It was DeAndre Hopkins yesterday in his introductory press conference. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Live today, Titans training camp presented by Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, and Cottle Vet Clinic. Chase McCabe here. Willy Donick is with me in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. As we take your calls and texts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. That is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Hayden wants to weigh in on adding D-Hop to the offense. Hayden, what's up?
Hey, I just wanted to say this is the biggest trade we had. I think it's bigger than the Julio Jones trade we had last year. Because with the amount of weapons we have now with Treylon Burks, even though he didn't do as good last year, but his college highlights, they were, I don't even know what the word I could think of. But with Derrick Henry also, and then Tannehill, which the Tannehill situation, I don't know who they're going to start. Me personally, I think they need to start Will Lewis. And the trade is the biggest thing ever in Titans history. And with Derrick Henry, with them, D-Hop and Derrick Henry, that's going to be the best duo ever. Me personally, I think.
Well, thanks for the call, Hayden. Appreciate it. It is a signing. It's not a trade, but I understand what he's saying. I don't know if I'm ready to go biggest ever, Willie, because I mean we've seen quite a few in the last 25 years. If it works and it's successful, then you can probably make an argument for that with it being the biggest acquisition. I mean, on paper, he's one of the most talented guys to ever put on a Titan uniform, but he hasn't done it here. He's got to do it here.
Sure. I think we have to have a little perspective here. I know everybody's excited, and I know the Titans really deeply believe that this is going to be a very impactful signing. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. But if you look around the league, while it's been a big story, I think it's been a big story because there haven't been a lot of other stories in the NFL. He's been probably the biggest name out there, Hopkins has. But when you look at how it's changed predictions, it really hasn't changed the predictions at all in the AFC South. It's made a little bit of a wrinkle for sure, but still the Jaguars are hands down the favorite in the AFC South, and very few people, if any, are going to pick the Titans to win that division or even make the playoffs.
And right now, I would say that's true. Do you think that when we get to, the start of the regular season and, sports radio stations and TV stations across the country are all doing their predictions, I kind of feel like some of that might change because, people are going to pay attention. Whether they admit it or not, they're going to pay attention to the Titans a little bit more because of DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, they'll pay maybe a little bit more attention, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be much more hype for Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. We had this. I'll throw this at you, Chase. We're going to compile as many predictions as we can find between now and the start of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know how many we can find. Let's say we find 24, or maybe let's say 30. Out of the 30, how many do you think nationally? And I'm not counting the local media here. I'm counting national writers will predict the Titans to win that division.
I think writers probably are going to go Jacksonville. What I'm curious of is when you have like different players that are, now media members. Because like when I was watching the whole D-Hop watch thing, I felt like a lot of the, like Tim Hasselback and, guys like that, they were looking at it as, okay, yeah, D-Hop should go to Tennessee because that's going to be the best fit for him. Whereas you had some of the writers and, the Stephen A's of the world that might say, nah, New England, Belichick, things like that. So I'd be curious of what the former players view it as. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you're going to be right. A majority are going to pick Jacksonville, and that's fine. I think Mike Vrabel thrives in that kind of situation. He didn't like to talk about it publicly, but behind the closed doors, I bet it's a huge motivational tactic for his team. And he seems like the right type of guy and coach that, would say, look, nobody believes in you. What are you going to do about it?
That's an interesting angle. I don't know how many of the former players. I think there are a lot of the former players on the shows like Get Up and NFL Network. They'll probably weigh in. I would be curious to see how many of them pick the Titans over the Jags. I still say it's going to be a low percentage. I think the analytics community that does predictions is going to heavily favor the Jaguars. And that does not mean I don't think the Titans have a chance. I see a pathway for them to have a really good season.
Sure.
If they get a little luck with injuries and the Hopkins things work out, and we can project that the older players can still do it. That's the thing that's hard for us. Like we know what Derrick Henry looks like and what he has looked like, but will his skills erode one more level? We don't know. There's so many things that we have to decide, but I still think right now, in the big picture, the Titans are a 500 team on paper right around there. And they're going to have to find ways to that can happen, no question.
Well, and I think it's interesting that you say that. Jared the other day had him at 12-5. I'm not ready to go that far. Now, 9, 8, 9, or 10, somewhere in there. That's kind of where I feel like they're at right now. And I got to see more. I mean, this is one practice that they're not even wearing pads. So I can't, give you – and I know what the roster looks like. I think I know what some of the guys can do, but it's going to take some time. So I agree with you. I mean, I think 500, thereabouts, is probably where they're at. But then the question is, with their schedule, with the division as a whole, if Jacksonville – whatever they are, are they going to put it together again? And obviously they're going to have to be better than last year because they weren't very good. They got on a hot streak, and then they ended up winning the division because the Titans went on a losing streak. Are they going to be improved? Can 9, 10, maybe 11 wins win this division? I would say right now it probably can.
Sure. Well, and a lot of it will depend on how Jacksonville does. But let's say that it ends up being 9-8 or 8-9. Let's just say 9-8. Not a bad year. 9-8, better than last year, but falling short of the playoffs. Then what? I think that will be a major question. If you end up doing this and it gets you 9-8, maybe you could have made a few more moves to look at the future. I still think a lot of people will say, look, it was worth a shot to run it back and do this, but it will set up some major decisions for next year. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
737.
How would you feel about that? 9-8.
I'd feel okay with it.
There's a lot of range, right? They can go a lot of different ways, but there's a lot of range that says this team's going to be right around that range. 8 to 9 wins.
I mean, look, I'd feel okay with it because I think, 9-8, who knows, that could potentially get you in the playoffs. I mean, it might win the division, so.
I would be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be
at
tough.
9-8. Now, you win 10, then I think you got a shot. I think you're going to be right on the edge.
9-8 is
to get into the range.
9-8 is the old 8-8, basically. It's kind of, I guess, how you look at it. But, yeah. So and then if they do that, then it raises the questions of, okay, do you turn the keys over to Will Levis? Is he the guy? You have you would have D-Hop for one more year. I mean, I guess you could get out of it, but in theory, you would have D-Hop for another year. Where is Traylon Burks at this point? Do you try and run it back with Derrick Henry with Will Levis? I mean, those are all questions that we would be asking in the next offseason. 615-737-1025. More of your calls and texts on the Titans. Coming up next is we're live today from Titans training camp here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Nashville's radio version of The Odd Couple.
You would trade for the third pick? Yeah, I don't know that I would do that.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode.
I'm here for the discussion. I'm not. It's a good one. It's absurd.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 9.
Win the games. When they get in the playoff, they'll have a chance to.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We are changing the game. Help your bets stay hot this summer at Superbook Sports. They are the most trusted name in sports betting with a direct line to Las Vegas. Right now, when you use the promo code CHASE, that's my name, you score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, Superbook will match your first bet up to $250 with the promo code CHASE. It is that simple, and they have everything under the sun. Lots of baseball going on as the trade deadline nears. Got some early games. Nationals at home against the Rockies. Nats are minus 148. You got Miami in Tampa taking on the Rays. Rays are minus 175. You can get it all on the Superbook Sports app. Download the app, enter the promo code CHASE to get that $250 courtesy of Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, Ray Jeter here with Harness. Are you looking to take ownership in a position that will support your growth and development? We are an excavation and site utilities contractor. Several things set us apart from our competition, but we take the most pride in the professional development of our people. We have multiple openings for operators, pipe layers, and laborers. Our pay and benefits are second to none, including our 401k program. Apply today at selectharness.com. Harness LLC. Build people, move dirt.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Beach Bend Park. That's where my summer happens.
It's where my family's come for generations for great times.
It's where amusement rides and water park slides are just my size.
It's where my friends and I have a blast on the big thrill rides. It's where we can do all the attractions and not spend time in long lines. Enjoy classic amusement rides for the whole family, plus Splash Lagoon Water Park with slides from mild to wild. Right now, save $10 off general admission with Wendy's coupon or online promo code. Visit beachbend.com.
Hello, whoever it is going to be.
You want to weigh in on anything that we're talking about on today's show? Hit us up on our phone and text line at 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
Titans training camp live today, Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Presented by the Simmons Bank Open, Permanent Energy, and Caudle Vet Clinic. Chase McCabe here. Willy Donick is in Baton Rouge, hanging out today as his son playing a little baseball. Let's go back to the phones. A lot of people want to weigh in on the Titans. You can call or text at 615-737-1025. Unnamed texture says, no way they go 9-8. They will win 10 with this roster, and yes, the one game matters. So
the
confident
one game
texture.
means everything. The one game is everything. One of the things I like about how some of the analytics sites do it, I'll give you an example. Football Outsiders that I look at a lot. They put sort of a percentage, because every team, like even the best teams, there's a percentage chance that it just falls apart. Right? I mean, the New York Mets in baseball. If you look at every analytics site, everybody had them for at least 90 wins, but it's fallen apart because that happens in sports. That's why you play the games. So even whoever you consider the best team, let's say the Chiefs, there's a chance that it could go awry if Patrick Mahomes misses 6 games and they get a bunch of injuries elsewhere. That's the thing about the NFL, especially with the salary cap. You can hit the skids. The NHL Stanley Cup champion, Las Vegas, they didn't even make the playoffs the year before because they got so many guys hurt. So that's why I love sports in general, but especially when you have a salary cap, everybody's got a shot, and that's why Mike Vrabel, I think, philosophically does not believe in rebuilds at all, and that clearly was the case here. So there absolutely is a scenario they can win 10, 11, and I'll even say on the high side, 12 is not out of the realm, but I don't think it's likely. But I think it could happen if everything falls together. That happens to somebody in the league each year has a year like that where everything just seems to go right.
Willie, the most important drill of the day is taking place right now, and I'm going to say this every day through training camp, and that is field goal.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Let the competition begin.
Yeah. Shudak. I feel like he's the guy. He's who they want. He's a little guy too, but that he's who they want to win this battle, and I think that the hope is you kind of find, like they did with Rob Baronis and, years before, you find that guy that can be your guy for 10 years or more.
That's what you're hoping for. This is the great what if. Like, Shudak was the guy that got injured in the preseason game last year, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So there are a lot of people that believe that he would have been their guy had that not happened. And so that's what we'll never know is what would have happened if he kicked. Because as you know, Chase, you can look really good in the preseason and be the darling. Hey, didn't miss a single kick in the preseason. And the first couple of games, you make your first couple of field goals. And then that big moment comes where you miss your first big kick. And it happens to all the kickers. Then what happens? It's like the closer that gets the job for the first time, and he gets his first 6 or 7 save opportunities, and he nails them. And then you have a couple of rough outings. Well, how do you react? Because that's really the key to sticking as a kicker is being able to bounce back from when it doesn't go right. So there's so many things you don't know about a new kicker, and that's the tough part. That's why it'll forever be the mystery, because so many people love to fall back on a veteran that's been there.
I wish you could see this right now. So while they do this, both kickers are taking a chance. Coach Jared is standing in the back of the end zone wearing red and
of course
holds his arms up every time it's
good. Is it a Louisville shirt? Because remember,
no, it's
Jared
just
was scouting for Louisville last year.
No, it's just a red T-shirt, like he's a secondary coach or something. But he is Coach Jared right now. I mean, both kickers are.
He's not holding like neon flags or anything, like pointing the direction of the wind or anything like that.
I know he's holding a notepad, so he's making notes on the kickers. But let's go to Adam in Portland. He wants to weigh in on Titans wide receivers. Adam, what's up?
This might be more mentally challenging than the actual kicks. I think that's what Jared's trying to do. He's trying to make it tougher for these guys than it will be in the actual game. By trying to put pressure on, scribbling notes, like threatening to say mean things on the air about you. This is gonna harden up these kickers mentally.
I'm just waiting for Vrabel to go tackle him. I just want to see that one time.
Oh, that's going to happen.
Adam, what's up?
They do the old thing where they tape the guy to the goalpost.
Bruce Matthews.
That did used to happen. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do that anymore, but they did do that back in the day.
Adam, what's up?
Yeah, if I was a field goal kicker, I would not want to see Jared down there. Like I would ask for them to take him away if it was me. I don't know, but this is what I'm thinking about, man. I think the DeAndre Hopkins signing, not to beat a dead horse, but it was so important just because you guys had me thinking. I was listening to you last year, same exact time, and you know what the storyline was that I remember, Chase?
What's that?
Is running behind defenses. Racey McMath is like our hope speed. Did he even catch a ball last year? Like that's That's what I'm saying. Like it was so like weak and puny. Our wide receiver room was so just dying, dude. It was thirsty, and I just felt like we needed a stud. We needed somebody who was at least proven of like, all right, if you have an important moment, you can at least have a good reason to throw to this guy. But Racey McMath being our storyline coming out of camp, you called him a camp darling. We can't lean on a guy like that anymore this year, man.
Thanks, Adam. Racey McMath, 2 catches, 40 yards, and one of those was 39. So that was his stat total last year.
I think you could go through every year and bring up something that he just brought up.
Sure.
I think that 100% happens. We get very caught up in things. Last year, another one you could use was Dylan Radins. How much did we gave so much airtime to a guy that basically never panned out, never played, wasn't going to play? I don't know. It happens to us, but that's how we roll.
Back to the phones. Wes in Hermitage wants to talk about the battle for the AFC South. Wes, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys. I just want to start this off really, really quick, and I want to ask both of y'all's opinion on this. Go back to the playoffs this past season. Did the Chargers lose that game, or did the Chargers win that game, or did the Jaguars you know what I'm trying to say. Did the Jaguars win the game, or did the Chargers lose it, in both of y'all's opinions?
It's funny
thanks,
he says
Wes.
that, Chase, because that game was on in our studio the other day on Monday, and we watched it again, and it was 27-0 in favor of the Chargers. They had total control of the game late in the first half. And if you just watched it and you turned off the TV and you didn't know what game that was, you're like, oh, the NFL Network is showing the Chargers, showing how great Justin Herbert is. By the way, how about Justin Herbert's deal? Woo-hoo!
Yeah, I know. We haven't talked about that. We need to get into
dollars.
that.
But it was amazing that they lost that game. I don't know
how
that happened.
The Chargers lost the game. I mean, it's just like the Titans lost the division. I mean, we got a text here a few minutes ago, and this puts it all into perspective. Wes in Clarksville, that was Wes in Hermitage. Wes in Clarksville says, just think if our kicker would have made that field goal in the Giants game last year, we would have won the AFC South. I mean, that's how close it was. You know, that you have a couple of plays here or there that decided the outcome of a game, that if they had won one more game, then the Titans probably would have won the division. And so I look at it as with Jacksonville, that's why I want to see them actually put it all together. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a heck of a quarterback. He's very, very talented. But they didn't win that playoff game. The Chargers lost it. And I don't think they won the division. The Titans lost the division. That's how I view it.
Well,
and I think a lot of people
we can all view it that way, but the Jaguars lost a ton of close games too, a ton of them earlier in the season. And I was pointing out, Chase, I will remind you again, I was the guy, you were laughing at me when I was saying this. Like, hey, the Jaguars, statistically, the Jaguars were way better than the Titans last year, way better. So don't overlook that.
Coming up next, we will get into Justin Herbert and his deal and the trickle-down effect that is going to have moving forward. And also, there was another long-term deal yesterday by a team that I really, really like that I'm not so sure about that. We'll discuss that coming up next. Chase McCabe live today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park for Titans training camp as our coverage presented by Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, and Cottle Vet Clinic. Right now, though, as we head to the break, caller number 3 will win a pair of tickets to see Clutch with Dinosaur at the Ryman Auditorium on July 31st, 615-737-1025. Clutch at the Ryman Auditorium on July 31st, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Thanks, sir.
Touchdown, Tennessee! All the big stories.
I fully expected DeAndre Hopkins wanting a one-year deal.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
You're going to make a trade like this.
Does he want to retire a Tennessee Titan?
The door's on the board.
Such superstar players. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, let's tell you once again about Loan Pronto. Look, they're helping people. Loan Pronto knows that a lot of people out there, you've got things that you need to take care of financially. So if you've got some credit card debt you want to take care of, if you've got a car payment, you want to pay off that car, stop paying the interest, there's a lot of ways that you might just need several $1,000s, and the math isn't going for you. You need to hit these bills now. Well, Loan Pronto, with their Express Equity line of credit, is helping a lot of people in that situation, and you don't have to touch your primary mortgage. Don't mess with that. Keep that 3% rate or so intact. Just get the money you need, tapping into your home's equity. Your home's value is way up right now, and then attack those bills one by one. Get them done. Or if you've got a home improvement project to make your house even more valuable, that's a great tool to use it as well. So stop paying those insane interest rates to the credit card companies. Get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. That's the thing about Loan Pronto's Express Equity credit line. It's happening fast. It's all digital. You don't even need an appraisal in most cases. So call Loan Pronto right now. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
Hey Tennessee, when you bet on Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town, you get the best reward possible. Cold, hard cash. You bet with your own money, so why accept anything less from your rewards program? With Zen Sports, you earn cash on your bets, cash on your referrals bets, and a welcome bonus in, you guessed it, cash. So stop settling for Vegas rewards when we're in Tennessee. Cash in your old sportsbook for Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you later. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Every piece of land has a story. The Upshaw's right theirs with a John Deere 1 Series tractor they call Penny.
When your project comes up, you have to just jump in and figure out what is it going to take.
From front loader to backhoe, the Upshaws have the tools to DIY all day long. Run with us on a 1 Series tractor and start telling your story. Get $1,000 off a 1025R tractor and 0% APR fixed rate for 60 months. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
It's the latest social networking thingy. We are all over social media. Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame. You can follow me at ChaseOnGame. Also on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville and at TheChaseMcCabe. See, aren't we cool?
Chase McCabe on 1025 and 1063 The Game.
Live today, Titans training camp, 1025, 1063 The Game. Chase McCabe here, Willy Donick in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And Willy, it is kind of like the first day of school. You run into people you haven't seen in a while, and as the team on the field for the first time, everybody's happy. And also, which is very rare, because you know this, you've been out here a lot. Usually, it can be cloudy all around Nashville, and the sun is just beating down on the practice field. That is actually not the case right now. It is a cloud cover, so little breeze. Doesn't feel too bad out here on the practice field.
Very nice. I like that for the first day of school. You got to love the first day of school. That that 5th, 6th, 7th day of school when you start getting that first round of assignments due, that's when reality check comes in.
So the Chargers have signed Justin Herbert to a 5-year extension, $262.5 million, which includes, let's see, let me find the guarantee. He's the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. What are the guarantees? I was trying to find the guarantees. I've just lost that. But anyway, what did you think of that? Because, look, I think Justin Herbert is very, very talented, and I think my initial thought is I think it's more the coach and the team than it is the quarterback. But I was a little surprised that, it was this kind of a deal at this point. I thought maybe they would $218.7 million in guarantees. I thought maybe they would wait a little longer, but I guess they wanted to get this done before Joe Burrow.
I think that's probably some of it. He was going to get paid. He's just too good. You can't not do it if you're the Chargers. My first thought is they've got to be kicking themselves that they haven't won more during his first contract, because that's when you have a massive opportunity to win in the NFL, is when you have a quarterback on the first contract that isn't making that kind of money yet. You know he's going to, but when you don't win during that window, that makes it tougher. Now, the Chargers, who have bungled all kinds of chances, they've underachieved. They've just missed this game. They've just missed that game. We just talked about their playoff game last year. Now they've got to do it in the future. Now this year, he's still under the contract, but once that extension kicks in and his cap figure goes way up and you have less money to address the rest of the roster, it becomes more difficult to win.
Yeah. There was another signing yesterday that wasn't a quarterback that I want to, and it's my team, the Cowboys. You guys know I'm a Cowboys fan. Trayvon Diggs, 5-year extension, $97 million, max value of $104 million. I like Trayvon Diggs. I think he's talented. I think that's too rich for him. I mean, that's a Jerry signing if I've ever seen it, but I was like, I saw that, and I'm like, I think they're going to regret that before it's all said and done.
That one's hard for me because I'm not as much of an evaluator of Diggs' value. I would defer to some of the other guys out there to say that, but I would say, and this, Chase, Jerry Jones does pay his top guys. He doesn't let those guys go. There's almost never a question of, the Cowboys just didn't want to pay for X guy or Y guy. So I admire him for that. It hasn't translated into playoff success on the level that he wants to. But that is how they're going to win. I think it's going to be a great race in the NFC East. Can the Cowboys unseat the Eagles? I think the Cowboys will be very good. And we know sometimes if you have a season where everything goes right like it did for the Eagles, that next season it doesn't tend to be as easy.
What is this? D-Mase showing me is that here?
That's in New York.
Oh, in New York? D-Mase just showed me a video of a crane collapsing down in Hell's Kitchen in New York. Wow. Hope everybody is okay with that. 615-737-1025. That is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Practice is starting to wrap up. Arden Key is going to join Junie Riddle and D-Mase coming up at 11 o'clock. So be interested to hear from him. And look, he, no pun intended, is a key piece to the defense because you get rid of Bud Dupree. I like Arden Key. I thought that, he may not have been the same level as Bud Dupree with Jacksonville last year, but I think he can certainly help this pass rush. So I thought that was a really nice signing by Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel.
I think he is an important guy. And it's the type of move that if it hits, you'll have the analytics department saying, see, I told you. Can you imagine if they get more production out of Arden Key than they did last year from Bud Dupree? And that is absolutely realistic, don't you think?
Yeah,
and it will be for
100%.
a fraction of the cost. That's really the name of the game when you're roster building.
Yeah, and that's that's certainly what they're going to have to do. they tweak. And that's one thing that I used that phrase with Rand Carthon earlier. He's tweaking the roster. That's what you do this time of year. You look around, you see who's still out there, or there's some veterans, because the offensive line is one that, is still going to have to be addressed at some point. Now, they like some guys here. Jared likes to use the word Scarbini. I'm not going to go that far. Just because you've never heard of a guy doesn't make them a Scarbini. But, there are a lot of unproven guys, and, we've seen times in the past where there have been guys that, maybe you've never heard of and don't know what they're about, and all of a sudden they show up and you go, oh, okay. Now I understand what they saw in them, and, that's what they're looking for with the offensive line. But I still think there could be some veterans out there. Maybe guys get cut, towards the end of camp that they could bring in to help the depth of the offensive line, because they're certainly going to need that without Nicholas Petit-Frere.
Well, whatever label you want to put on it, all right? He uses the term Scarbinis. I mean, I wouldn't use that, but let's just say no names. There are guys that our listeners will have never heard of, right? Unless you are an ex-NFL scout, maybe there's 3 listening, or former college coach that might know 1 or 2 of these guys. You know what I'm saying? That's a huge part of success in the NFL, is finding the no names that end up being the right fit, because you are going to run out of money. You can't throw money at every position. That's why analytics are so important. Talent evaluation is so important, and understanding what fits your system. So I'm hoping that the continuity works. And the biggest question mark is the offensive line on this team now, don't you think? And it's not even close. Tell me how the offensive line plays, and I'll tell you a lot of how far this team is going.
Yeah, I mean, it probably was wide receiver at one point, but now it's for sure offensive line. I mean, there's no doubt that that's what it is. That, is this offensive line fixed? Has it been fixed? Without Petit-Frere, what do they got to do there? And then, the other things I think are further on down the list. But we'll just see how it all shakes out for sure. Coming up next, it is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. Caroline will return tomorrow. Willy, I know you got dad duties. Are you hanging around for a little bit, or you got to go?
I am rolling, and hopefully, if all goes well, I will see you guys back in the studio tomorrow.
Sounds good. Looking forward to that. D-Mase, Junie Riddle filling in. They're next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.